All right, so we are testing for speed today. The chain, we are doing some modifications to a chain, trying to make it super fast. And I've done these kind of tests before in the past, but over time I've gained experience, and today I'm going to teach you the secrets to doing your own testing. That way you don't have to rely on somebody like myself to kind of tell you what to do. You can go out and do the test yourself and figure it out on your own. Because hey, I could be telling you something completely wrong and saying do this whenever you shouldn't be. So go have your own experience, you know what I mean? Part of the fun of doing this is to experience it for yourself. Don't rely on somebody else. You know what I mean? Don't rely on somebody else to tell you what to do. So I'm going to kind of show you some secrets. I've done testing in the past. We're going to kind of go over that stuff, and then we're going to do an actual test. If you saw the picture in the thumbnail, we are testing that chain, and it is pretty gnarly. But alrighty, so this should be an experience today. This should be a good one, entertaining, full of information and everything. So here we go. Now this is the chain we are going to be testing, and if you look in there, you'll see I made some modifications. So I'll come back to this in a minute after I explain some things. We're going to be testing this chain today. All right, so we've done testing in the past. In fact, I actually started out doing a series testing chain at sharpened at different angles and so forth. And eventually I kind of stopped putting videos out on it, and that's because I kind of figured it out pretty quick. So we were testing different angles, what's going to be faster and stuff. And it's kind of like, if you know it's going to be slower, why test it? You know, we were looking for something faster, and it kind of revealed itself pretty quickly. But I'm going to kind of show you, because I've changed the way that I test. I probably threw away $500 worth of chain, testing chains and different sharpenings and stuff throughout the past. And, you know, I've gotten better at it. I figured out a better way to do it and everything. So we're going to kind of go over that stuff. But I mean, I had a book. Let me show you here. So this is my dusty book. Just to kind of give you an idea. These are some dyno runs that I've done. But I mean, right here you can see this is kind of what I was doing. I was charting them out. What was it? This is the sharpening, the different chains, the amount of time it took to make the cut. That's the RPM it made in the cut. And you can kind of see here which ones were faster. And like on this sheet, this was the faster. You can see it was at 8,000 RPM versus something up here at 9980. Pull was hard, cut almost 10,000 RPM, but it cut it, you know, just over 22 seconds. Where this one, even though it was at 8,000 RPM, it made the cut it like 18.2, or yeah, 18.2 seconds or whatever. So, but the lower RPM one, because it was eating a lot more wood, cut the wood faster. And this is kind of how I did my testing. But I changed from doing this system. Let me explain. All right, so I changed the system in which I do things. So what I was doing there is I was taking a chain, I would sharpen it up, I'd time to cut, all that stuff. And I did that for a little while. And eventually I kind of stopped making video on it. And basically what I would do is basically time to cut on a saw during any particular video. It could have been a random video, and I was able to kind of keep track of what sharpening I was running on that saw, and behind the scenes be able to, you know, kind of keep track of what was faster. Well, I kind of changed from doing that to, because once I got to a point, I was like, you know, I feel like something's holding me back, and so I went back into the testing. But I'd started doing it differently, and that's kind of what I'm going to show you today. This is going to be like how you can do your own testing kind of video. This isn't, hey, this is how this chain performs kind of video. This is like a video that you can take to like learn how I do the process, and then you can take it out and kind of have your own experience and figure things out on your own. All right, so this is the chain we are testing on today. It is a square chain. I'm working on developing a fast chain, and that's what you're kind of looking at here. So this chain has had the rivets ground but not polished. I doubt this chain ever sees a race, so I'm not so worried about polishing them out. And even just from the testing, it'll end up polishing the rivets naturally, you know what I mean? The bevels on these teeth, like you see this here, have been kind of filed at. Now it is a square sharpening, and we're working on developing it, turning it into a faster one. But what I did is I came in and I dug out in the gullet there, dug out a bunch of material, and I come across the back side. You see, I kind of cut out the back side. Then I came in again on another angle and kind of dug out a little more, trying to create space for as the chip gets up and under that tooth, trying to create a nice smooth path back here for the chip. What else? The rakers have been trimmed at the front to kind of create like a nice vertical line. We want that raker to stop the chip from getting into this tooth. We don't want to cut the same chip twice, you know what I mean? We want that raker to stop it. Some different mods here. But I only did some of these mods to one side of the chain. So all the mods to the back side of the tooth you see here, or the back side you see here, they've only been done to this side of the chain. I did not do them to this side of the chain. And that's because if this works, then the saw will cut crooked. You know what I mean? Either which way, this saw should cut crooked now because of the way she's done. But that's going to tell us whether or not these mods are faster than this. And that's kind of the plan here, is to do the mods to one side of the chain and not the other, and do the test, because then that should cause the saw to cut crooked. And if it does, then we know that the mods are making it faster. So doing these changes to one side of the chain and not the other, that's kind of how I changed my testing, because it enabled me to test one against the other, like one technique of sharpening against another, without running two separate chains. I'm basically doing it on one chain, and if it cuts crooked, and then you just kind of figure out from there and follow your path to figure out which one, which modification is working and which one is not. And that's kind of how I changed and started doing all my chain testing or checking them for speed. So yeah, just kind of a little tip there on how I started doing my testing. Now we're going to go ahead and make a couple of cuts here quick and see if this saw cuts crooked. This is kind of a spur of the moment video. I wasn't planning on doing this video, but I'm trying to think of what else here. I don't know. Yeah, hey, just check it out. We'll see if the saw cuts crooked. And I did notice that one of the biggest things is once you get your sharpening to a certain point, it doesn't matter. A lot of times your issue is not your sharpening. A lot of times it's your ability to get rid of the chips. And that's when you want to watch the nose of your bar. If you're spitting out a bunch of sawdust out the nose of your bar while you're in the cut, then chances are the chips are what's slowing you down. So that's one of the things you gotta try to work on too, is getting chips cleared out of the way. So that's kind of what we're looking for today. But anyway, yeah, just a little couple pointers there, I guess. If you're struggling with your sharpening, trying to get her faster and you just can't, it might not be your sharpening. It could be your chip clearing issues. So yeah, keep that in mind. That and any result you find on 3/8 chain will be different on 3/25. I did discover that 3/25 sharpening is completely different than 3/8 for speed cuts. So, all right, let's make a couple of cuts. I don't know if she picked up so good on video from that angle, but maybe this angle will help. Definitely, you're definitely better on one side than the other, aren't we? So she's veering to the right. Pull up this cookie here. I mean, what do you think? I didn't even make it the whole way through the cookie on that first one. She cut out on me. So yeah. But there you go, a little kind of lesson on how I do it and something you can do to help with your testing. I wasn't even going to do this video today, but I decided, you know, this is one of those videos you guys will probably be really into. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm showing you how to do the test yourself. So, yeah. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.